Hello my friends, I hope you had a fun time in Christmas Ogre Land, because we're finally about to take a break from that. The Gemini Cup is coming soon, and is actually a 1600 mile, which is going to be pretty fun in my opinion. A lot of Umas with bad mile aptitude struggle on Track Blazer, and putting Sparks into mile made medium S so much harder to get, but now we can just dump it all in mile anyway. And a lot of Umas will be viable here too, so hopefully you can just all have a more relaxed time building your aces. First of all, the track is on Tokyo, standard distance, and it can be left-handed. It will be in firm conditions in the spring. I will throw up the map on the screen real quick for you guys right now, and we'll come back to it later, so don't worry, I just want to point out a few things. You're probably familiar with this track if you've been playing for a few months, because it is kind of unique in that it's basically a final corner and a final straight map. So acceleration skills that work on the corner and on the straight will be both viable, giving us a decent amount of options in that department. The stat thresholds are stamina and guts here, which means that for every 300 plus 1 of that stat, you're going to get about 5% speed. Because of that, Guts Tech will be meta here in order to hit that 901 Guts. Additionally, since the downhill isn't that long and there's a big uphill in the late race, I think power is going to be very important. So the ideal stats you want are obviously max speed and power, and as much wit as you can get your hands on, and try to go for 901 Guts and 601 Stam. If that sounds unreasonable, that is perfectly fine. You could drop some of the Guts or the Stam, it won't make a huge difference. 601 in each or 301 Stam with 901 Guts is also perfectly fine. I should also say that getting max Guts isn't actually that more impactful than having 901 Guts, so if you think you can get to 901 Guts, you could try for a 2 Guts deck instead of a 3 Guts one. That of course allows you to more easily get your speed and your wit and your gold skills that you want. Now I've made a quick tier list here of standout Umas that you can watch out for. Again, with the right inherits, most Umas are viable, but all of the ones here have a niche that I think is notable at least. Forerunners are always consistent, but pace chasers here are pretty good thanks to Nishino Flower's unique. Daiki Shuttle's unique works on her because of the duration, but inherited won't last long enough. El Condor Pasa's unique is also very powerful here, but in order to proc it the right time, you need to either be a frontrunner or hit Lucky Pace, both of which are kind of difficult. Tier leader King Halo basically carries the backline since her unique is a final straight acceleration skill. Ballroom Fuji Kiseki has both Speedstar and her unique, which are final corner skills, giving them a pretty good chance for a speed carryover. And Mayano, Cheerleader Nice Nature, and Kawakami Princess all get no stopping me innate. Mayano Top Gun has the advantage of being able to run any running style, which is great here since you could run either end first race spurt with the King Inherit, or you could run, I don't know, maybe just pace, and just go for that Budding Blossom. Front works too, but NSM will be a bit harder to use from that position. Wooding Fine Motion's unique is also pretty good here, giving speed and a bit of excel in the late race, kind of like Mummy Creek, who is also here, just maybe a bit harder to train than her Mile G. Last is the Enclosers. Spurt works here, Enclosers are great, enough said. Now that we've looked at a few of the Umas, let's talk about our most important skills, our excels. For Forerunners, Angling and Scheming and Victoria for Plancha are no-brainers here. Every 0.3 excel if you are first place. Final Push and Unrestrained also work as decent gambling excels. If you hit them, you win. If you miss, they're waste. Enough said. Pace Chasers have quite a few options here, mainly Budding Blossom and Give Mummy a Hug. Wooding Fine Motion's unique is very similar to Give Mummy a Hug and can be a replacement. Budding Blossom is the most important, so if you don't have a good Mummy Creek or Winning Fine Mo, then go for Nishino Flower Inherit instead. A good replacement or grandparent skill is going to be Victoria for Plancha, activating in the first and second slots. It's good for Lucky Pace or if you're running no fronts. On that same note, Angling is also a solid grandparent skill, and so is the Wedding Fine Motion if you're using, of course, the Mummy Creek as your main inherit. Other than that, your gambling skills like No Stopping Me, Head On, Neck and Neck, Ignited Power, and Ignited Spirit Guts, those all will work just fine. Late Searchers are yet again a more gambly playstyle. They have access to inherits from Cheerleader King Halo as well as Let's Pump Some Iron, which is fine, but both have conditions. Updrafters and Furious Feet are other gambling excels that work for backliners here, but in general, if you can make your Late Searcher an end closer for a straightaway spurt, she will be better. Speaking of end closers, they'll be having a much better time this CM. Spurt works again, so you could just slap that skill on with as many speed skills as you can get, although unless you have Encroaching Shadow, it's only 0.2 still, so you still really do want to inherit that King Halo unique. Now that the excels are done, let's talk about regular skills. Since the final straight is pretty long, 500 meters again, Mile S and Green Speed skills are pretty good for late race speed. Ring Runner, from Course Menace and Left-Handed are very powerful skills to have. Additionally, the mid-race is exclusively corner, while the early and late race are straights, which means that corner skills will be your important mid-lake speed skills. Speed Star and Prepare to Pass for pace chasers, as well as Flow Vigor and Pumped specify the final corner, which gives them a pretty solid chance at speed carryover, making them more powerful. Getting a lead into early race before the corner starts can also have huge impact, so skills like Umastand and Groundwork are also recommended. Now, if you're running a frontliner, either a pace chaser or a frontrunner, Speed Eater is a phenomenal skill. Giving yourself a speed boost while widening the gap between the Umas behind you with the speed debuff is huge. And on that note, Opening Gambit and Restart also do well in during frontrunners to allow your own frontrunners to win. And since I don't want to list out every single speed skill in the game, I think we're basically done with this section. And as always, I'll throw a few of my own Umas on the screen right now. I haven't built too much so they aren't too optimized, and I plan on doing more runs, but I hope that these can be a good baseline for what you're looking for. And I don't really have a stat thresholds for all of my Umas, so just try to hit that 901 and that's 301. If you're not comfortable with the Guts deck, I really do get it. A lot of players do struggle with that Guts deck. Now the stat thresholds aren't really too mandatory. You're still mainly winning from your excels and speed skills. But in my testing, it has been kind of the difference between winning and losing by about, let's say 1.5 lengths, it feels like. So you'll struggle against similarly built Umas. Remember that the difference between the double 301 and an Uma with 901 Guts is about the same as a mile less, which is pretty good on a track with a long final straight. And also, thank you guys so much for the interest in my videos. We've blown way past 200 subs since my last CM guide, and we're already almost to 400, so thank you for that. I really do appreciate it. And that's going to be all for today. Peace.